Hello everyone, welcome back to Yerkana English. We are going to be learning about numbers, days, months, and telling time. And this is a part of the A1 level course. So the first thing you have to know is that in spoken English, we always use ordinal numbers for the day. For example, a cardinal number would be numbers used for counting, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here you can see in the example that it says 10 of April, which is wrong. And instead of 10, we need to use an ordinal number, which is used for numerating. For example, first, second, third, 10th. And here in this example, instead of 10, we use 10th. And then here, I have a table which represents all of the cardinal numbers from 1 till 20, and then the ordinal versions of them, the rest of the numbers. For example, 4th or 24th or 27th, they all end with th, except the numbers which end with 1, 2, and 3, where the numbers which end with 1 we use first, then the numbers which end with 2 are second, third, and this can be seen in 21st, 23rd, 22nd, 32nd, they have different endings. Then here we have another example, which is the 3rd of April, which ends with rd, third, instead of third. Furthermore, we have 7 days in a week, which are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And all the days in the week are proper nouns, which means that they're spelled with a capital letter. For example, a Monday is spelled with a capital M instead of Monday with also. Now we can go on to months, and we have 12 months in a year, which are January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. And months are proper nouns too, so the first letter of each month should be capitalized. And in this example, we have January with a capital J instead of January with lowercase letters throughout the whole word. And then here are some questions that we can use to ask about time. For example, what time is it? What's the time? Do you have the time? Could you tell me what time it is? And then we also have a couple questions which can be used regarding activities. For example, what time do you go to school, or what time do you go to sports practice? And we also have another question which can be used is what time is school on Wednesday? And this can be interchangeable depending on the activity or day of the week. Since we already know about days, months, and ordinal numbers, we can also learn about telling time. Here we have an analog clock, which can be used for telling time, and as you can see that there are 12 numbers, which represents the hours of the day. And then the little lines sectioning in between each hour represent the minutes. And overall, you can see that there are 60 lines on the analog clock, which represents that there are 60 minutes in an hour. Now that we know that there are 60 minutes on a clock, it means that in between each section, like in between 12 and 1 and 1 and 2, 2 to 3, there are 5 minutes in between each section, meaning that if we were to tell the minute, if, for example, the clock would be showing 12 with the minute hand, then we would know that it's 60 minutes. Or if the minute hand would be showing 10, we'd know that it's 15 minutes. And now moving on a clock, there is a small hand and there is a big hand. The small hand represents the hours and the big hand represents the minutes. And when the big hand is on the 12 mark, it means that it's a clock, which means that it's exactly the hour. For example, here we can see that it's 8 o'clock because the minute hand isn't anywhere else other than the number 12. Then we can section off the clock into 4 quarters, each quarter representing 15 minutes, and we can use this to tell the time, where the first quarter, if the big hand is showing on 3, that it means that it's quarter past whatever the hour. So in this example, we can see that the small hand is showing to 4, which means that it's the 4th hour, and because the big hand is on 3, then we know that it's quarter past 4. This is because the minute hand has only passed a quarter way through the clock. Then with the second quarter, we know that the big hand is on from 12 to 6. We know that half of the time passed, which means that it's half past the hour. So here in this example, the small hand is showing on 8, so we know that it's half past 8. then with the third quarter, we know that it's quarter 2 because there's only a quarter left to reach the 12 mark, which represents the o'clock and the initial standpoint. It represents that there is a quarter to whatever the hour. So in this example, we can see that the small hand is going from 10 to 11, so it's quarter to 11. And then, other than the analog clock, we can also use the digital clock to tell the time, where on the right-hand side of the column represents the hours, and on the left-hand side, it represents the minutes. And on this time, we can see that it's 3:30, which can also be 3:30. Because both clocks only have 12 hours, when the amount of hours in a day is 24 hours, we need to split them up into two, into PM and AM, where 12 PM is noon and 12 AM is midnight. So when we say AM, we are referring to the hours before noon, which are basically the morning and daytime. But PM, we are referring to the hours past noon, which are the afternoon, the evening, and later into the night. So easy ways to remember is that AM can be remembered as after midnight and PM can be remembered as past morning. But the actual abbreviation of AM and PM is ante-meridium and post-meridium. And then we can do a little practice activity where I have a digital clock here, and we have to know how to say it properly out loud. Instead of 8:00, we say it's 8 o'clock, because here on the left-hand side, because we know that it shows the hours, we know that it's the 8th hour, and because there are no minutes, we know that it's 8 o'clock. And because we know that it has no minutes, we say o'clock. And then here we have 5 o'clock and 1 o'clock, because it's showing that it's the 5th hour, the 1st hour, and so on and so forth. Then here we have AM and PM, and instead of saying 8 AM, we can say it's 8 o'clock in the morning, because AM represents that it's after midnight, which is the early morning. And then we have 5 PM, which is 5 o'clock in the evening, because PM represents the time past morning. So the time past morning is noon, afternoon, and evening, so it's in the evening. And then it's 1 o'clock in the PM, which can also be in the afternoon, because the noon, as we said before, it's 12 PM, but because it's after 12 PM, it's afternoon, because 12 PM is noon. And then we can also practice telling time using the analog clock. And here we can see that the minute hand is showing on 3, meaning that a quarter of the time has passed, meaning that it is quarter past whatever the hour. And by checking the small hand, we know that it's the 9th hour, so you can say it's quarter past 9. But then here, in this example, we can see that the big hand is on the 6, meaning that half of the time has passed. And then checking the small hand, we can see that it's on 8, meaning that it's 8:30, because half of the time through the 8th hour has passed. And then here, we haven't checked this before, but when the minute hand is, for example, here it's on 11, if we go back and check, then we know that 11 marks the 55th minute, meaning that there's 5 minutes left till o'clock, meaning that that's 5 to the hour. And the hour is showing that it's almost 9, meaning that in 5 minutes it's going to be 9, meaning that it's 5 to 9. Thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.